important game to watch?
You can glance over, we won't be offended at all. No, you can't. After Jaylen had to miss a couple games, 3-4 days of practices, 2-3 days, how important is it that he gets this game and some workout time before next Wednesday?
Yeah, it's pretty important, him not playing a ton with certain lineups and new guys. Had those first few games, but having to rest the toe, we've got a chance to look at some other lineups, but obviously we want to see him with some of the starters and see how they gel. They played fine in those first few games, so it'll be important to get back out there. He looked like he had live legs yesterday at practice with the time off, and even live for him, but ready to have him back out there and give him a last look.
Any kind of minutes restriction for Jaylen tonight?
No.
How much have the rotations that you kind of went into camp with, have those pretty much stayed the same from where you think you'll be with Orlando?
I wouldn't say, we've been doing a lot of different things throughout camp, looking at different combinations. The ones you see the starting lineup, that'll pretty much stay the same. We'd like to look at a few different combinations and guys playing together off the bench and when we bring subs in. So, the fact that we sat guys in these last two games, we didn't get a chance to see everybody together, but we did enough in the first few games and the first practices. And I think we got a good idea of who works well together and trying to utilize them to their best abilities.
Do you have any priorities when you're trying to figure out 5-man units?
Yeah, you want to have shooters with non-shooters on the court. You want to have people that complement each other. We know guys that work well together and trying to find the new combinations. And so maximize their skill sets. And you don't want to have too many guys that duplicate what they do on the court at the same time. And got a guy like Ime that really handles the point when he's in, and a guy like Fred who can play off the ball. We want to see how they work well together. And defensively, they complement each other as well. A bigger guy and a smaller guy that can cover for each other somewhat. So we just look at combinations and all those sorts of things.
Coach, this is the last preseason game, so you want to see a lot of your starters and your reserve players play together. But what about how much time, or what are you looking for from some of those fringe guys?
Well, given the opportunity, the thing that's somewhat tough at times with our team is that we have young guys that need minutes and need to develop. And so traditionally where you'd have a more veteran team and you rest some guys would get in with other groups. And at times with us, you're trying to get Cam the minutes and some of our younger guys who've been here already. And so at times it's only been the third unit sort of toward the end of the game. If presented the opportunity, we do have some guys that we'd like to get a look at with some of the starters and backups. And so if presented, we'll do that, but at the same time, we're cognizant of getting our guys minutes up to get them ready for Orlando.
Coach, you guys are a very young team still, but unlike last year, you added veterans in Brooks and Van Vliet and Jeff Green. I know you've had an imprint, but how has it helped you to have 3 veteran leader, mentor type players with this young group?
Yeah, it's been crucial for our development and growth as a team. You can only do so much as a coach and talking through things, but guys that are actually on the court going through it with them, those guys have been great. I've mentioned quite a few times they giving pointers and not only talking but their professionalism, day in, day out work ethic and their routine. It's rubbed off on the young guys. They get a chance to see that up close, and so the additions have been great. Those guys have done everything we've asked of them, and even more on their own, spending time getting dinners with these guys and kind of trying to ingratiate them to winning mentality.
Hey, Coach.
Piggybacking off of that, Kyle Lowry poured so much into Fred when they were in Toronto together, and then when Kyle came to Miami, Fred was that #1 voice, and I imagine he kind of is here too. Have you noticed him particularly taking certain guys under his wing just yet?
He's done it with a little bit of everybody, and it was pretty immediate. He spent a lot of his summers out in LA, so him, Jaylen, and some of the guys that are out there working out were getting together quite often on and off the court. But here it's everybody across the board, and you've seen it. Not only working with a young point guard like Ime, or young guys like Jaylen, but he's working with everybody. The guys, two-way candidates, and Biggs, Alper, and everybody's just more so a leader of the whole group, and been very vocal out there.
Coach, when you take a look at your young players, mainly somebody like Jabari or Tari, have they done anything in particular to make you say, okay, maybe I could change their role, give them like a little bit more responsibility going into the regular season that you probably didn't think of before?
Well, yeah, they've grown. Just looking at them last year, and Tari being consistent throughout the year, and then Jabari taking a big step toward the end of the year. I've talked about their carryover into summer league, where they both were pretty dominant in those 2 games they played, and then seeing them in the gym in the summer with the guys that were going against the high-level players, you've seen a step as well, and their confidence has grown. So you're going to put more on their plate as you should and going into their second year. And I think they've all taken that natural step. And so, yeah, what they did last year, Jabari may have been a guy that was sitting on the perimeter, spotting up a lot. We want to use him more ways. You know, he can handle some, make some plays, obviously post up some, but obviously improve his shooting as well. But we're asking them both to be all around. They have the capability to play on both ends and grow their game. And I think they're ready for that challenge.
Do you
have a
envision?
sense of how much time Tari might need before he's back?
No, we're finding out. He's had some pain and he has to get something checked out. So we'll know more after tonight.
Do you envision Cam being a part of the rotation come opening night? And if not, what are some of the things that he has to work on to kind of break into the rotation this season?
Yeah, we'll see. We're still evaluating those, you know, looking at 9, 10, 11. And, you know, he's played well in his time. Has had some rookie mistakes as well, but has done a great job with his aggressiveness as well. So for us, it's consistency. He's going through some of the learning curve that all of our young guys do. You know, a guy that's played 1 year of college, you know, only learns so much, and the experience out there stands out with certain guys more so than him. But even guys in their second and third year going through the NBA for a few years, you can see the difference at times. But he's learned pretty quickly. Things that we put in Louisiana, he's not making the same mistakes, and so we're looking for consistency with him and all the other young guys.
Some Gilman struggled a little bit offensively this preseason, shooting 30%. Do you think that's a combination of new teammates, new system, maybe he's rushing the shot, or do you just think it's a combination of just different things?
You're talking about Cam?
Alfred.
Oh, no, I think honestly I mentioned a few times kind of reverse engineered how we're going to do things, and we went overdosed on the switching on and off ball, some things that are not as natural for him, and offensively we're putting into sets that really work for the team, equal opportunity with our 5-out spacing, and not necessarily going to his strengths and what he does well, but we've added that last few days. You'll see some of that tonight, but going into the season, you know, we're going to use him to the best of his ability, whether that's post-ups more, giving him the ball in his comfort zones, and, you know, some of it is playing with new guys and understanding where he's great at, you know, get the ball in the pocket. We haven't always found him when he's open on those half rolls, and so we'll get to use him a little bit more and give him, you know, some of his comfort spots, but I think he'll be fine eventually. If I'm correct, he had a rough preseason last year and ended up playing pretty well. So it's a little bit of what we're doing more so than anything he's doing, other than missing some easy shots that he's going to make.
Some coaches prefer a shorter rotation, 8 or 9 guys. Other coaches go deeper, 9, 10, 11. Which side of the spectrum do you think you find yourself on, or is it just kind of situational based on matchup?
A little bit of both, but I think it is hard to play 10, 11, no doubt about that. You know, you want to have your best players on the court as much as possible, but we do have real depth and confidence in a lot of guys that can come and contribute differently across the board. And so it is hard to, you know, that's why you shave it down in the playoffs and even during the season. You know, spinning a 4-guard rotation is tough at times, and you might just play those 3 and someone will get cut out with some minutes. But I think 10, 11 is the max at that, but even that's tough. You know, guys, you'd rather play somebody 6 to 9 minutes instead of a few guys 3 minutes. I know I was that way as a player, and I think they all are like that. So we'll figure it out and get it to where it needs to be come opening night.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.